Why do you hate Fridays so much?
Because I hate people that live their lives for the weekend. My man, you learn from winning too. But let me tell you one thing, not trying or doing always loses. You'll learn from winning. I've learned a ton of from winning. I've learned a lot from losing. The only thing I've done much better than a lot of people is I'm always doing. While you're sitting and debating, should I or could I or how or what, I'm working.
So when did you know Wine Library was a great vehicle for entrepreneurship? And did you ever think about quitting?
I knew Wine Library was right because my biggest goal at 18 years old was to go and work for my family business for a decade. I stayed longer to build a massive business for my parents because I love them so much. The biggest thing I'm proud of on earth is that from when I tell kids to be patient, they don't know my narrative a lot of times. I, as a 22-year-old kid, worked for my parents' business for 12 years, every day, every Saturday, gave up my entire social life during my 20s, which is the prime, took my family business from a $3 to a $65 million business, and then left at 34 years old with no money because I never paid myself more than $100,000 a year because I poured all the money back into the business, and I owned 0.0% of the business. And I wanted to do other things, so I came, I did my thing, I changed the course of my parents' financial life, the way they changed and created the course of my life, and then I was ready to do my own thing at 34 with nothing. So when people are impatient at 26, I laugh because I only started at 34 for me, because the first 12 years was for them. And so I knew that was right from the get because that was my mission.
We always say we put our partners first, but how can we go about doing that in a bigger way in 2021? And how do you go about doing that at VaynerX and VaynerMedia?
We ask them what they value the most. Some value us paying them more. Some value us having me give them a shout out because they need brand. Some value coming in and learning how to do marketing in exchange barter to them being a partner. You know, bringing value comes down to listening. When you decide the value you're gonna give someone, you're not providing value, you're giving what you want to give. That's a very different relationship than asking someone what they want and then being able to figure out how to provide it. And by the way, if you have kind candor when somebody says something you can't provide, you can also articulate that. There are people ask me for things all the time that in my early 20s I would dodge because I didn't want to be mean, and that led me to be not the man I wanted to be. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't stand up enough. And now in my older age, I'm like, look, I can't do that, Karen. That's not in the best interest of what I want to be doing. And so I think kind candor on the back of listening as a communication to your partners will lead to dramatically more fruitful events.
I'm curious to know, given that you have your hands in so many business opportunities and other interests at any given time, what do you think is the key to your productivity?
Gratitude for sure. And I have a general thing that really works for me, which is I think 99% of things don't matter. So that allows me to not get bogged down by anything. And I'm a big fan of juggling 46 balls and being okay with 9 of them dropping versus only trying to hold up one and making sure it doesn't drop. So a disproportionate comfort with failure, enormous gratitude, and a perspective on what it all means in the scheme of things, period. Because I think creativity is the way to really win the B2B game. If all of you had 49 targets to do business with, your ability to follow them on LinkedIn and Twitter, most likely, Instagram as well potentially, if you then read what they're interested in and what they love in life, you now have an opportunity to create a connection point. Sending somebody a bottle of Dom Perignon and saying, we'd love for you to consider us, may not land if they are rehabbing from alcoholism, may not land if they just don't like champagne, may not land with me who really knows about wine and doesn't want that champagne, wants something smarter and cooler. You didn't know anything about me. I know that you just send bottles of champagne to everybody that's a bigwig, not gonna land. Intent didn't land because I know that I don't mean anything to you. You're trying to get me through this thing. However, let me paint you a different story. So I'm writing this book called The Thank You Economy back in 2011. And it talks about providing value. And I remember thinking, you know, it didn't work out for me. It didn't make the book, but here I am a decade later about to tell the story. I called Wine Library and I said, hey, The next time you get a first-time customer, place an order, I want you to take the name, I want you to go to Twitter search, and I want to see if you can actually find the person. So it took a while because most people just weren't on Twitter at the time. We monitored what he was talking about. So here's this gentleman who buys a case of Pinot Grigio. I remember it like yesterday. And all he talks about is Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler was the former quarterback of the Chicago Bears. And he is just on it. Jay Cutler this, he's the best, I love you, I go, great. I go, why don't you go to eBay and buy a Jay Cutler signed jersey? They said, Gary, that's like $400. And what he bought was a $180 case that we were making $9 on after shipping. Lesson time. I got the teacher, I go, do it. So we buy it, we send it, we say thank you from Wine Library, thank you for joining our family. So now I'm pumped, right? I'm like, wait till this guy gets it. He's gonna post it on Twitter. He's gonna call out, 2 months later, nothing. So sad, because I thought this was gonna be so epic. And then I get a phone call, and the team says to me, hey, we have some great news. Do you remember the Jay Cutler thing? I go, yeah. What'd he do? He goes, not him, get this. So they go on to say, Gary, somebody just placed a $6,000 order for Burgundy wines, very high-end stuff. I'm like, cool, what's that, and let us read you the note that he put in the notes field. Dear Wine Library, first of all, please hold these wines because they're expensive and it's a little hot here in Florida. I want you to, wait. It was Florida or Texas, I don't recall at the time, but like, we have warm weather, can you hold the wines? 2, you have an incredible Burgundy selection. I'm also looking for Romani Conti and this and that. Can you please reach out to me? 3, a couple months ago, a friend of mine received a Jay Cutler signed jersey in the mail after he bought some wine from you. A, that's incredible. B, I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. Have a good day. To me, that was just unbelievable. To me, that was everything I believe in, which is doing the right thing is always the right thing. We clearly showed a human being we went out of our way to get to know them and do something special, surprised and delighted. That created word of mouth, not on the internet like we anticipated, but in his circle. The biggest reason people are unhappy right now is because they value somebody else's opinion more than they value their own. That is the number one blanket statement that I've got for everybody. Your mother's point of view on you, your wife's point of view on you, your boyfriend's point of view, your homie's point of view. Like, the reason I'm super happy is nobody can tell me nothing. My wife, mom, and daughter could walk into my room right now, tell me I'm a piece of crap, and I would be 100% unfazed. That is some gangster emotional structure. And that's why I can never lose. I know who I am, and I'm unfazed. Figure out the following. It is very likely that either your mom or dad screwed you up. And don't confuse delusion. Don't watch my videos and rah-rah up and you don't put any work in. Nothing good's gonna happen. So don't get it confused, but life is basic. You're either on the optimism team or you're on the pessimism team. Let's talk about money and unhappiness. Your 3 best friends have a BMW and you don't. You don't realize that I loved when all my friends had BMWs and I had nothing. It's just perspective, man. What are we doing here? Like, what are you valuing? The biggest vulnerability everybody has here is they're worried about somebody else's judgment. The reason there's no moment of clarity is you don't want to jump. You don't want to jump because you're worried if you lose what people are going to say, starting with your parents, your friends, your contemporaries. My ability to not truly care about other people's opinions has been the foundation of my happiness. I respect people's opinions. I just don't care about their judgment of me. I have flip-flopped about project management at VaynerMedia like so many times, and I don't worry if somebody hears like, make a decision, or like, you're stupid, or like, what the f***, or why are we always changing? Like, the number one mistake that people are making in life today, and it's just so unbelievably obvious, is they're living life in the middle. 99.9% of the people that watch or listen to this content are living in the middle. And I just say the middle. And when I think about how you win in business, in entrepreneurship, but most of all in life, It comes down to a strategy that looks like this. Are you balancing your ego with your humility? Are you balancing your ego with your humility? Do you equally think that you're the greatest of all time and you can do it, and that also you're a piece of shit and nobody cares when you're gone?